Hey guys, long time no here. You're talking with Ree, where I come to talk to you about what I've either read in the blogs, watched on TV, or heard in these streets. Woo, today it is definitely about the blogs. We are talking about Chrisean and the rapper Blueface. So yesterday, a video appeared from No Jumpers from a recent interview where they had to throw Chrisean out of their studio in the middle of the interview. Now, when you look at it, you get secondhand embarrassment. At least I do. And I don't get secondhand embarrassment for her, since clearly this is someone that lacks embarrassment, feelings. I got secondhand embarrassment for Blueface, surprisingly. Long story short, what takes place is she is being interviewed by Sharp and another young lady. I forget her name, but she was doing an amazing job with the questions. But I forget her name. But they were being interviewed. And they came across the question where they wanted to touch base on one of the recent episodes where we show Blueface going to the emergency room after Chrisean had hit him in the head with glass intentionally, causing a big gash in the back of his head. And as they were trying to make light of the matter, well, Chrisean for the most part at first, the interviewers did not take that lightly, because clearly that gash in the back of the head left him with a concussion, leading him to the emergency room. Add in that gash in the back of the head could have killed him. That gash in the back of the head could have actually caused him to go blind. And it is just, it's horrible. And they were trying to ask questions regarding that. And Blueface was willing to answer the questions, and Chrisean was not. Chrisean got agitated, and she was just like, I don't want to talk about that. And as they're questioning her about what led up to it. And she's like, well, he called me the B word, so I called him back, and then he got upset with me. So, I went to go and grab a glass and hit him with it and so forth. And, they're very toxic. They are very, very toxic couple. And she's just like, I don't want to talk about it. And the interviewers are like, yeah, well, we're going to talk about it. And Blueface was willing to talk about it. So they just stopped looking for her to answer the question. They decided to ask Blueface it. Chrisean turns into a 5-year-old where, as Blueface is talking, she keeps interrupting. She keeps talking over the mic. She's asking for more shots of Hennessy. She is just being, very, very, very childish, very, very disrespectful. And it gets to the point to where Blueface is just like, you see, this is like the type of stuff I'm talking about. Then she goes and she's like, look at me, daddy, look at me while I'm talking to you. Look at me. Mind you, he's in the midst of an interview, in the middle of answering questions, and you want him to look at you. He's like, okay, you're behaving somehow like you need to chill, you need to relax, this and that. She's like, I'm behaving like me. I'm being myself. As if that makes it any much of a difference or any better. He proceeds to walk away. She follows him. Where are you going? Where is this? Like, she's following him. She's tugging on his jacket. He then goes and he tells security, listen, he goes back to the couch where the interview is being taken place at. He goes to the set and he's telling security, listen, handle her, because if I handle her, it's not going to be nice. You handle her, get her out of this building. She's like, what? No. Sits down on the ground. And like a 5-year-old, like a toddler who doesn't want to leave Chuck E. Cheese, or a toddler that doesn't want to leave McDonald's playground, or a toddler that flips out in the middle of a grocery store. This is a 22-year-old woman, right? And I'm sick of people babying as if 22 is not old enough to know better. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. And so then that's when security comes. They grab her and they proceed to take her out of the building. She's kicking and screaming along the way, to the point to where she decides to kick their TV, breaking their property and belongings, yelling out, Blue, Blue, why are you acting like this? Blue, Blue. Like, it's insane. It is insane. And I am done having sympathy for this young girl. Let's backpedal now to Blue and Chrisean. Blueface introduced us to Chrisean in 2020 during the pandemic, when he created Blue Girls Club. She was a cast member on there. And she was the standout star of this show. Now, did she show irritable behavior then? Absolutely. Was she very much seemed to be a little bit off, like a little off in the head? Absolutely. But the fans ate it up, which proceeded her to act even worse, right? So he decides to bring her back for a second season with a whole new set of girls. She goes on that show. And same thing, very erratic. Not as erratic as what we're seeing now, but definitely she was a standout person in every show that she has been on. Well, he then decides to keep her there. Like once everything is wrapped up, everything is put away, he decides to keep her there, right? He decides to keep her in the house because he's like, you know what? I'm going to sign you to make music. Well, their music turned into a sexual relationship where they start becoming intimate. And, that also affects her mental as well. Because now when he tries to break up with her, she refuses to leave. To the point to where she breaks into his house. She writes in blood on his wall. I believe it was like a blue and Chrisean forever. Something to that sort. She steals one of his cars and drives it across straight line. Right? Ends up arrested, ends up in jail. He decides to bail her out. And then the rest is history. They've been in this toxic circle of a relationship since then. Leads into so much toxicity where she ends up beating up his mom and his sister, and he turns around and beats up her dad. This is just a very, very toxic couple where both of them are slightly off in the head. And I say that regards to Blueface for allowing anyone to beat up your mother, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's crazy. And even as he tells the story in the interview, he is comfortably okay with his mother getting her butt whipped. And that is a whole nother topic for another day, because I also want to be clear that the mother is not innocent either, right? Well, anyways, that's their background. Since then, it's been a toxic relationship, and the public, social media has been egging them on. Their fan base have grown to where now Chrisean has kicked the toxicity up another level after another level after another level after another level, where it now ends with Blueface being in the hospital with a gash in his head, right? And they are still perfectly still together, all right? Well, now we fast forward to them doing interviews and people bringing them on their platform, because why? Everyone is looking to get money from this relationship, right? They are looking to, bank off of them, including Blueface. And the only thing that they're doing is showing her that she gets rewarded for bad behavior. Well, now she goes on Kai's show, who is usually a happy-go-lucky YouTuber. She goes on his show in his house. She destroys his property. She even ends up putting a huge hole in his wall. And she's just like, well, you're rich. You can fix it. What? Like, she literally lacks manners, tact, respect for anyone. And the public keeps supporting it and, encouraging it. Well, with the No Jumper interview, the interviewers were like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not encouraging that. We're not going to be okay with you constantly interrupting when we're asking your partner a question or when we're discussing any topic. And if you don't want the topic, you are welcome to leave. But instead, she stays and she creates a bigger scene for herself. I feel no sympathy for Chrisean anymore. Chrisean comes from a very troubled background. Chrisean comes from a lot of trauma in her childhood. And she did not have the best upbringing in regards to her family. And when you see her family, even on the show where Blueface ends up putting his hands on the father, you realize that they are all off in the head. Like, they're all, everyone has contributed to the mentality that Chrisean now has. right? But here's the thing. If Chrisean was to end up committing a crime, no one cares about your upbringing. No one cares about that, well, your behavior was rewarded. Because you are dealing with civilized people, right? In the real world. So no one cares that your family enabled you. No one cares that Blue enabled you. No one cares that the fans enabled you. Or other celebrities enabled you. Like you see Glorilla the rapper who says, oh, I find nothing wrong with her behavior. It seems normal to me. No one cares about that. It's not normal at all. And it will literally land you in prison. And when you sit your tail up in front of that judge before he gives you your sentencing, no one cares of your trauma. We all come from trauma. I come from trauma. I'm sure many of you that are watching this video come from trauma. And it is no excuse to be breaking people's property when you don't get your way. Or when you are feeling gaslight lit because, well, they were asking questions that I didn't want. I told them to skip over that subject. And they kept asking. No, they didn't proceed it to ask your boyfriend the question, and he didn't mind answering it. Now, you didn't want to sit there and listen to it because you're used to these interviewers babying you. You're used to these interviewers biting their tongue as you are being annoying in the middle of an interview. You are old enough to know better. You are old enough to know better. I doubt that when you won on that athletic show, when you were like 18, 19 years old, the one where you won the grand prize of $10,000, you knew how to act better. So this is not a matter of Chrisean not knowing right from wrong. She knows right from wrong. It's just that she has been rewarded for her wrong. It's ridiculous. And enough is enough. If I was at an interview the moment she broke that property, I would have called the cops on her and put her in jail. There is no interview big enough that I care about her or Blueface where you're going to destroy my property. If I was Kai, I would have threw her out of my home the moment that she put a hole in my wall. All of those things she needs to be held accountable for. And her response to the video being released yesterday from No Jumper is, well, basically in summary, you felt gaslit. You felt gaslit. Let me tell you something about this world. Our life is 10% of what people do to us and 90% of is how we react to it. We're not going to keep blaming Blueface for her behavior. We're not going to blame everybody else, right? Even though I feel like everyone is enabling her, at the end of the day, this is Chrisean's life. This is Chrisean who is choosing this. This is insanity. And Blueface, I have no sympathy for him because he puts up with it due to the money. Let's backpedal there as well. Blueface signed a very horrible record deal. Horrible. He is signed to someone that is signed to someone else that is signed to someone else. He admits this during his Breakfast Club interview that he didn't even read his contract. Blueface is literally his Tatiana one-hit wonder song has not made him as much money as what he's made with Chrisean in the picture. He's admitted that. And the reason why is because he gets pennies off of that song. Pennies off of it. With the Chrisean show, he was charging people, that Blue Girls Club, he was charging people $40 a month for the prescription. I mean, for the subscription. I don't know why I said prescription. For the subscription. And was making buku coins a month off of that show. Okay? Now you add in Chrisean. He knows good and well that Chrisean, since people are hyping her up, she's the one that people want to see. So he has her signed to him now. Now he's turned into the monster of the people that he was signed to. And every single dime goes to him and he gives her a portion of it. This is a pimp whole relationship. That is literally what this is. It's a pimp hoe relationship. And because of that, he thought that, well, she's so much obsessed with me, which she is. She has his name tattooed on him 9 times. He assumed that she's so obsessed with me that, she'll do whatever I say. And she does. But it comes at a cost because she's mentally unstable. So now you're getting your hair cracked in. You catching black eyes. You getting punched in the face in front of you. You've gotten your reputation destroyed. No one wants to listen to anything that you have going on or anything that you had going on. No one cares. No one cares anymore. And the look on his face after he was gashed in the head and he's sitting there contemplating life as she is trying to use a vacuum to vacuum out the glass from his head, the look on his face was enough to show that he is regretting his decision. That he is like, dang, is it worth all of this? Because he takes care of his family with Chrisean's money, because we know you're not taking care of it off of Tatiana. Yes, him and his mother have a restaurant together, but let's not act like restaurants don't close all the time as if that restaurant is getting big money. As if it's a chain. We don't know of that. Right? Akademiks, DJ Akademiks exposed that Blueface home is in foreclosure or in a position to be in foreclosure. The home's not even in his name. So he needs Chrisean just as much, and that's why he's putting up with all of this. Just for those who are asking, why is he dealing with this? Why not leave her? Because he gets money off of her. He feeds his family with her. It's like signing a deal with the devil. It's like, yeah, we're going to give you money, but you're going to be miserable. And that's literally what Blueface is. So with that said, I have no sympathy for him. This is going to end badly, guys. This will end badly. Chrisean has already made it clear that if he wants to break up with her, it's going to end in a body bag. And for some reason, I believe that it can get to that point because she's mentally unstable. She's unhinged. She is unhinged. And that interview showed that. Anyone that's making excuses for her behavior must act just like her or must be just as mentally ill. Because let's be real, if shoe was on the other foot, y'all would not be saying, well, the reason why he's breaking a glass over Chrisean's head is because of Trump and she's gaslighting him. We would not be saying that. When Ike Turner was doing his interviews in regards to Tina and the domestic abuse, what was he saying? He was saying that, oh, well, you know what? Basically, she was gaslighting. Saying I ain't hit her any worse than people during that time was hitting their wives. This is what Ike was saying, allegedly. Right? This is what Ike was saying. And we did not make excuses for it. We did not say, well, yeah, well, if that's the case, then Ike, yeah, I feel you. So if we didn't make excuses that way, why the heck are you making excuses for Chrisean? Chrisean is a grown woman who needs to get it together. And she found an interviewer that was not willing to put up with it. That man looked, the moment she kept spazzing and said to Blueface, you're her babysitter. Because only a child acts like that. And we're not going to blame the Hennessy. We're not going to blame Blueface. We're going to blame Chrisean. Because if you watched the Blue Girls Club, you would know that Chrisean was already erratic. You will know that she was already unbalanced. That is why people remembered her. That is why. That wasn't with Blueface. She was already out there. But the public did not get a hold of her until last year with this whole Blueface matter. As their fame as a couple grew. But if you watch since 2020, you know that girl been erratic. So with or without Blueface, she would still be that way because she lacks self-control. And she refuses to get help. Every time they mention therapy to her, she's like, I don't need therapy. I don't need those things. I got this under control. What? Girl, enough of that. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. That's all I want to say, at least in regards to this at this very moment. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Chrisean is mentally imbalanced? Do we blame Blueface for that? Or do you just hold her accountable and say, yo, this is like Chrisean, this is her fault, period. She's old enough to know better. I want to hear all of your opinions down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward